Hello and welcome to Top 5 Friday. I'm your host Tim Cant, and this time things are getting a bit zany as we're running down the weirdest and, dare I say it, whackiest plugins around. So brace yourself for some whimsy. Let's run down those quirky boys now. Mobius Filter is going on indefinitely at 5. Bitspeek is phoning home at 4. We're opening our Wormhole at 3. Punchy Worm is giving us a beating at 2, but thankfully we're still alive to see Portal at number 1. At 5 is Mobius Filter by Isotope. Featuring many filters running in parallel and moving upward or downward simultaneously and relentlessly, Mobius Filter creates an audio barber pole effect that you can use to create some mind-boggling sounds. As well as the frequency and resonance XY pad, you get a choice of 2 filter types, direction and movement switches, sync options, and a speed control. There's also a wet-dry mix fader and a stereo width parameter. It'll set you back £42. Mobius Filter is an awesome effect and a simple one, so we can check out basically everything going on with it right now. I'm going to run some white noise through it because it sounds cool when you run white noise through filters. So let's go with that. So we can start out with a mix level of 0. So we're just going to hear that noise on its own. Oh, quite unpleasant, but we turn up the mix. Oh! So we're getting a constantly ascending barber pole style effect there, visually represented with this lovely misty weirdness here. Let's try out some of the parameters. We've tried the faker filter type. Let's see here how it sounds a bit faster. And we can make it go down as well as up. Hey, pretty cool. And we can freeze it. Nice. We can also adjust the resonance and the center frequency. And the stereo width. So you can get kind of crazy. Also, there's another filter type, the peak. Let's try that now. We'll put the movement back on. So really, some crazy stuff going on there with Mobius Filter. That's basically it. It's just a really quick and simple way to add some interest to your sounds. At 4, it's Bitspeek by Sonic Charge. Bitspeek turns your voice, and indeed anything else, into a lo-fi digital monstrosity. Inspired by the rudimentary speech synthesis used in toys like the classic Speak and Spell, Bitspeek is described by its creators as a real-time pitch-excited linear prediction codec effect. You can use Bitspeek's pitch tracking controls to mess up your audio, even hook up a MIDI signal to control a pitch in real time. If you're looking for a way to create unique vocal effects or just mess sounds up generally, Bitspeek is a robo-revelation. Okay, let's test out Bitspeek in real time. As I turn up the mix knob, I turn into a flippin' robot. And I guess the main thing here is the tracking, which controls how much the synth follows the pitch of your voice. Let's turn it up and it goes all crazy. I mean, who knows what's going on here? Or if you turn it all the way down, you can have a monotone robotic sound and you can control the pitch with this. Hello, hello. Let's go low. And we can also incredibly high as well. You probably can't even hear what I'm saying at that pitch. And we can muck about with the combination and get all kinds of sounds. And hey, let's throw some D-tune in there as well. That's quite nice. And we can go super lo-fi with the rate control. So, as you can hear, it's easy to get really weird vocal sounds. Also, there's a frame rate control, which really makes things messed up. So we're going to turn that down. You probably won't be able to hear what I'm saying properly, but let's give it a go anyway. We'll turn the sync off. Okay, so good for crazy stuff, not so good for hearing what you're saying. And there you go. You can also control the MIDI as well to do the pitch stuff and everything. A really cracking plugin as I return to humanity. What an absolute treat, Bitspeek. It's a boss. At 3, it's Wormhole by Zynaptic. It's the first of our worm-based plugins, and this worm has turned. Turned your audio into something bonkers, that is. Wormhole gives you delay and reverb, plus pitch and frequency shifting. By combining these, you can morph an input sound into something completely new and spellbinding just by whacking it through the wormhole. Tech like this doesn't come cheap, with Wormhole costing €169. But for sound design gurus, it'll be, well, worm the money? Wormhole does a bunch of mysterious stuff. I mean, it's all warping, shifting, or reverbing. And there's a little delay in there as well. And it's kind of an interesting effect. I mean, look, for example, rather than a mix control, you've got an FX blend. So it's doing a lot of spectral weirdness. Now, so you can really hear what it's doing, I've chosen a vocal sample. Obviously, the human voice is something we're all very familiar with and we can hear when it's being mucked about. So I'm gonna kind of keep quiet and just muck about with some of these parameters and you'll be able to hear what Wormhole does. We'll start off with the dry vocal.
Big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place.
You've got to have some big dirty bass in the place, guys. Right, let's whack up this blend and see what happens.
Big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place. Big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place. Big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place. Big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place. Big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place. In on the place, big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place, big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place, big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place, big dirty bass, all bad man, in on the place, big dirty bass, live in the place, all bad man, in on the place.
And you can change the routing as well with this button here. So then you get the warping before the shifting.
All bad man, in on the place. Big dirty bass, live in the place. All bad man, in on the place. Big dirty bass, live in the place. All bad man, in on the place.
There you go, guys. Wormhole. It mucks about with your audio. You might make something nice with it. At 2, it's Punchy Worm by WA Production. Down at the bottom of the garden, there's a wiggly plugin that'll saturate your transients. Punchy Worm has just 3 controls: in, out, and a big fat knob for controlling the level of saturation or transient processing. That's right, the exact audio effects we've come to associate with dancing worms over the years of music production evolution. You can also bypass Punchy Worm or set it to 2 times or 4 times oversampling. At about $20 it's worth a try on drum synths or even vocals. Well, here it is, guys, the future of plugin interface design, Punchy Worm. What I particularly like about this pastoral scene is the multiple suns bouncing around in the background, super realistic. So we have the effect bypassed at the moment because the Punchy Worm logo is not illuminated. So let's just have a listen to this audio dry. Now, when we activate, or deactivate the bypass button, I should say, we're going to hear that audio processed by the Punchy Worm. Sounding cool. Now if we turn the knob up, we get increased saturation. Ooh, chunky. Let me turn down the output a bit just to make sure I don't clip that master. And if we turn the knob down, we get increased punchiness via some transient shaping. And of course, we can click the logo again to hear how this sounds compared to the original. So tightened up. All crunched up. And we've also got an oversampling thing. Does it sound better? You tell me. And that's everything it does. So Punchy Worm, a crazy little plugin that looks and sounds very interesting indeed. And at number 1, it's Portal by Output. A granular effect designed to take your sounds out of this world. Portal features 2 modes, an easy mode with a giant XY pad for carefree sound wrangling, and an advanced mode for precise control over its innards. And what innards? Portal is a grain-based effect that will transform your sounds into previously unimaginable sonic delights. With built-in sequencer modulation sources and a selection of additional insert and master effects, plus a wealth of spaced-out presets to enjoy, Portal is your ticket to a new dimension of sound. It's £134. Personally, I'm not hugely bothered by grain-based effects. Portal, however, is wicked. We've got some audio here. The dry wet fade is set to dry. Let's have a listen to this dry audio. very pleasant. Let's see what happens when we put it through the portal. Oh yeah. If you want to make ambient jams, guys, you know this is the one for you. And what's great is, there's just an absolute ton of wicked presets. Let's have a listen to some others. Fractured. Ooh. So it's kind of like Soundtoys Crystallizer, taken to an insane level. What else we got? Ooh. Ooh, making some bass there, very interesting. And if you're a bit of a clever clogs, you might want to have a look at the advanced screen. Ooh, lots of interesting stuff going on in here. That's all very lovely, but what I want to show you is a little trickeroony we've got here. If we bring up the patch menu, we've got a bunch of different patches here, a bunch of different patch categories, in fact, that we can select and see all the goodies contained. But the only way to get down to the bottom is you have to scroll on your trackpad or with your mouse wheel and look, and then you can access the user category. And what's in there? Yes, it's an init patch. Congratulations, Output, you've smashed it. You've got that init patch, thankfully. So I'm pleased with that. Let's play us out with another bit of a patch. Let's go for cassette tape. Why not? Take it away, Portal. Scrumptious stuff. Well, that is more than enough Manic Pixie Dream plugins for now. I'm off to strum my ukulele. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you on the flippy floppy. Smell you later.